àjànàkú kọjá mo rí nǹkan fìrí tá a bá rẹ́rìn ká sọ pé arẹ́rìn. Solocard Multiventures Limited ilé ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ ni mò ń sọ níbi káta ojúlówó kẹ́míkà àti fataláísà tí kìí ṣe yèèpẹ̀. ọ̀rẹ́ mi sọnù kí owó bá sọnà.
Ìwé kíkọ láìsí ọkọ́ àti àdá kò ì pé o, kò ì pé o. Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ níṣẹ́ ilé wa, ẹni kò ṣiṣẹ́ á máa jalè. Ìwé kíkọ láìsí ọkọ́ àti àdá kò ì pé o, kò ì pé o. Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ níṣẹ́ ilé wa, ẹni kò ṣiṣẹ́ á máa jalè.
Ẹ kú dédé ìwòyí o ẹ̀yin àgbẹ̀ wa, a kí yín káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ètò wa abẹ́ tí mọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ní mowó ni ètò ọ̀rọ̀ àgbẹ̀ ni gẹ́gẹ́ bá a ṣe máa wá sórí ètò yìí lé ọ̀sẹ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ láti fi ọ̀rọ̀ àgbẹ̀ tó àwọn àgbẹ̀ wa létí bí wọ́n ti lè ṣe ètò àgbẹ̀ tó tún máa dáa ju bí wọ́n ti ń ṣe látẹ̀yìn wa lọ. A ti ṣe àwọn kan sẹ́yìn láti ìjọ a ti ṣe àwọn àfilọ́lẹ̀ àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan a ti fi àwọn kan àwọn àgbẹ̀ wa náà bí wọ́n ti lè ṣe kó dáa bí wọ́n ṣe ti lè ṣe àṣeyọrí lórí ẹ̀. Lọ́sẹ̀ tó kọjá a ṣe ètò kan ní Lákínyẹlé fún àwọn àgbẹ̀ wa tó wà lọ́hùn náà a dẹ̀ ṣe ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ fún wọn ní ráńpẹ́ bí wọ́n ti lè ṣe nǹkan ọ̀gbìn wọn lákòókò tá a wà yìí kán dẹ̀ fi lè rérè tabua lórí ẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n a ní dẹ́ni dúró lórí ẹ̀ nítorí pé a fẹ́ káwọn àgbẹ̀ wa máa nílọsíwájú lórí iṣẹ́ wọn ní gbogbo ìgbà ni lóòrèkóòrè lórí kankan tó má ti gbìn. Torí ẹ̀ ni pé lójoojúmọ́ a fẹ́ máa mú wá sétí ìgbọ́ yín bẹ́ẹ̀ ti lè máa ṣe tó yẹ lẹ́kùn máa dáa. Nítorí ẹ̀ náà la ṣe wà lórí ètò lẹ́nìí láti fi tó yín létí. Orúkọ tèmi ni Mark Olúwafẹ́mi tó jẹ́ atọ́kùn ètò yìí fún Solocard Multiventures Limited. Lẹ́nìí lórí ètò yìí a fẹ́ mú wá sétí ìgbọ́ yín bá a ti lè ṣe nǹkan àgbìn wa tó sì lè ṣe dáadáa ju tàtẹ̀yìn wa lọ. Tẹ́ bá ti bá wa lọ láti jọ ẹ̀ láti bá a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò yìí a ti ṣe àwọn kan sẹ́yìn tàbí ṣe àwọn àlàyé kan lórí ẹ̀ bá a ti lè máa dáko bá a ti lè máa ṣe dáadáa. A ti sọ yí pé kò pọ̀ dandan ká dáko ńláńlá bọ̀ tá a bá dáko kékeré tá a bá rí èrè tó yẹ ká rí lórí ẹ̀ ó pé wájú ká dáko ńlá lọ ká máa rí èrè kékeré lórí ẹ̀. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn àgbẹ̀ wa nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wọn nìyẹn, oko ńlá ni wọ́n dá èrè kékeré ni wọ́n rí lórí ẹ̀. Táwa dẹ̀ ti wò pé kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀, àgbẹ̀ tó bá dáko ńlá ó yẹ kó rí èrè ńlá ni, àgbẹ̀ tó bá dáko kékeré kó rí èrè ilẹ̀ tó bá dá ni, ṣùgbọ́n kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Nǹkan tá a fi wá wò ni pé báà la ṣe lè ran àwọn àgbẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ la ṣe dá ètò yìí lẹ̀. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí orúkọ tèmi ni Mark Olúwafẹ́mi. Fún àwọn tó ń gbọ́ wa láti ìlú òkèèrè, my name is Mark Olúwafẹ́mi and I'm the host for Solocard Multiventures Limited for Solocard TV, and we've been talking about agriculture. How can you do agricultural practices very well such that you can get good benefit from it? We know that most farmers are having large farms, 20 hectares, 30 hectares, but the profit they are seeing is just on 1 hectare, even an acre as the case may be. But we are here to bring to your notice some basic tips. Like we always say, we are not the best, we are trying to be the best, but we are trying to share across to you the looting information, the discovery, the new invention, the new things you can actually do to get good yield in your farm. And that's what we are doing at Solocard Multiventures Limited, to share across to you that little knowledge we think we have about a particular thing that we have tried, we have seen, we have experienced. Perhaps that might be the solution to one of the challenges of your farm. Because if you are doing well, then at Solocard Multiventures Limited, we will be doing well too. Like we always say, we are not just profits crazy. We are not just after you coming to buy market from us, buy things from us. Virtually everything you need about agricultural practices, we have it. Talk about from input, all inputs you want, chemicals, seeds, fertilizers, whatever. Talk about irrigation materials, we have everything. But we are not just after you buying. We are after you seeing the effectiveness of what you are buying and you making profit as well too. Because we believe you make profit in an acre, you will expand to 1 hectare. If you make profit in an hectare, you expand to 100 hectares. And the more you're expanding, the more you are buying, and the more we are making money. But we want you to do it well, so you can be able to expand more. Then you can make more money. We're not just after you buying today and not coming back tomorrow. And that's why we are here to tell you what you can do and how you can go about it. If you've been following us in the time past, we've done several episodes on how we can go about so many practices. Whatever we've said in those episodes, they are very useful information that you need to know. Please, you can go through those episodes, you can listen to it, you can drop your comments, you can send us a mail, send us messages on WhatsApp. We'll always respond to it. Whatever challenge you think you have in your farm, we are always here to provide solutions to it in the little way we can, even from our experience. And that's just it. And that's how we take time to look diligently into agricultural practice. Today, we want to be talking about a very common crop that all our farmers are growing. As I'm speaking to you now, I know your mind is in your mind to grow now. Now, we all know that the rains are here. Even though there's been a break in the rain for a while, about 2 weeks ago, or less than 2 weeks ago, it was raining. It rained back to back. To those that are in southwest environment, I'm sure you experienced the rain in your farm and the likes like that. It seems as if the rain was quite heavy and it's like we're into the rainy season. But you could tell that from the last rain to date, almost 10 days plus now, there have not been rain. So it might seem as if the rain has stopped. Maybe there's a break. But nevertheless, the rain season is here. What do you need to do? Number one, this period that the rain has started, it is just meant for you. You can use this one to prepare your land very well. To those that don't have irrigation, prepare your land. You clear your land. The rain that has fallen will help, will even allow you to be able to mechanize your farm in terms of using tractor to plow your land for you. Because before the rain, if you call any tractor operator, they will tell you, the ground is hard, you can't till the ground. But now rain has fallen. Prepare your land, you till the land. In preparation for whatever you want to cultivate. We know in this period, mostly farmers are cultivating maize, cultivating cassava, cultivating some other crops like that. But majorly, I know we have some major cassava farmers, some major maize farmers that are waiting for the rain to start. And I tell you, today we'll be talking about cassava. We'll be brief about today's episode because cassava is something everybody knows how to go about it. But the question is this: how do you want to make maximum profit from that same cassava? In one of our episodes, we once mentioned about cassava cultivation, and we talked about briefly what you can do to actually make cassava profitable for you. Some farmers will tell you, I've been cultivating cassava, I've not really seen much profit about it. But I tell you, cassava is a very good crop that when you cultivate cassava, you should make maximum profit from it. Let's start from what cassava is being used for. We use cassava for gari, fufu, cassava flour. Those are the major things we do in Southwest with cassava. But in Southeast, there are some other things they do with cassava. They do tapioca, they do starch, and some other things like that. It's the same cassava they use for industrial starch that most companies use for production. Now, what am I trying to let you know? I'm trying to let you understand that cassava has high demand. And therefore, if you can do your cassava very well, you should sell cassava very well. Most ethanol companies depend on cassava. Starch companies depend on cassava. The so-called company that uses starch, the powdered starch, the dry powdered starch as their raw material also depend on the factories that are using cassava to produce the starch for them. You will see the change. Now, the factory that is producing starch also depend on the farmer to cultivate the cassava so they can get raw materials to produce the starch. Now, have you seen how the chain is going? Now, if the chain is this long of great values, then why won't you cultivate the cassava and be able to sell out? But the question is this: how well can you cultivate your cassava? Conventionally, we found out most of our farmers on an hectare, what they get from an hectare of cassava is maybe 8 tons, 9 tons, 10 tons as the case may be. But the question is this: in the real sense, if we do the mathematics together, you should get minimum of 40 tons per hectare. So invariably, what you should get on 4 hectares ordinarily is what we are telling you that you can get on an hectare now. So why won't you do it well? These are some of the things we need to let you know. There are ways by which you can actually do agriculture this day that is different from the conventional way of farming, which brings about the maximum result we're talking about. If I'm telling you can get minimum of 40 tons per hectare, even when you try and you get 25 tons or 30 tons, I'm sure it is a win situation for you, different from you having 9 tons like you used to have before. The question is the same size of land, the same time frame, the same inputs, but different results. So why don't you do it differently so you can get that different results? And that's what we're here to tell you today. Talking about cassava, one thing you need to know is this: cassava needs a well-pulverized land. Even though we know that even when you do not plow your land, you can put cassava stem there, it will grow, but the yield will not be the same. And that's why you need to plow the land. One of our episodes when we talk about land preparation, we talk about the reason why you need to plow your land, why you need to harrow your land, and the likes like that. In this case now for cassava, it is very good you till the soil. Some people will believe that when they are plowing the land or they are making heaps, as some people will do for their cassava farm, it is stressful. It doesn't really do well. But the thing I want you to understand is this: it has a lot of the advantage than you not plowing the land at all. Because when your land is well broken down, the clogs in your land is well broken down, it allows your stem that you are planting to go down into the ground. When it starts growing, it allows the root to travel very well, effectively, thereby giving down the fruits at a time when due. Let me start by telling you from the input. The choice of cassava stem that you cultivate is also a function of the yield you get together at the end of the day. We have so many cassava stems that you can talk of. So many. As in, I'm sure in your locality, you have different funny names. One of the names is Okoyawu. That's the common one. We have Sariyu. We have, there's some, in some areas they call it Egetogo. We have so many things like that. We have TME 419. We have TME. We have so many TMEs. I might not be able to mention names. There are so many TMEs. We have the yellow, the vitamin A cassava. We have so many stems like that. But what we would let you understand about an healthy stem of good variety will actually enhance the yield you want to cultivate. Most farmers don't pay attention to the stems they are cultivating. They just go to their next door neighbor farm, get cassava stem from there, and just go and plant. They don't even know what the variety it is. They don't know how it is. They don't even check. But we want you to understand that if you have healthy stem, if you plant healthy stem, you will have good yield. So, most generally, if you have TME 419, for instance, which is almost the common one, but we know we have so many 419 now. As the name is TME 419, we have so many people that are even doing 419 for people now. They will just get any stem in the market, bag it, tie it together, and tell them it's TME 419. But it's not TME 419. The TME is off. It is 419 because they're actually defrauding farmers. They say, it is TME 419, but you will not know when the stems have been cut, except you see the stem standing before you cut it, or you have to plant it first, and when they start growing, before you know whether you have an idea about it TME 419 or not. So some of the things we want you to know when you buy it, when you get your stem from a very good stem source. We are not saying you have to buy it from a particular area, but be sure of the stem that you are getting. Even when you want to get the stem from maybe from your friend's farm, see the performance of the stem on that friend's farm. How was it when he planted it? What was the thing he got? What was the stem formation? These are some of the basic things you can actually ask questions about, even though you might get some funny response. Some of them might not tell you the real truth about the stem performance and the likes like that. But if you ask questions, okay, how does this stem look like? Which one is this stem 419? How is it growing? What is the fruits like? What is the feed, the food? That is a tuber. At the end of the day, what is it like? If you understand all these questions, if I can ask all these questions, I will be able to answer you. At least you have an idea how the stem looks like, or you better still get your stem from a reliable source that you are sure they're going to give a very good stem from a reliable source. If you have a good stem and you now prepare your land well, you achieve this result. Talking about land preparation, it is very advisable you till your land by plowing. So persons will say, okay, fine, what happens if my tractor cannot go to my farm, I can't plow the land or whatever like that. Fine, maybe your farm is not well cleared, so you have storms on your farm that tractors cannot come in there. It is advisable that you make heaps you make heap or you make ridges. That long continuous ridge is that you make heaps, good heaps, such a way that it gives the cassava stem enough room to penetrate and give up the fruit. Briefly, I will talk about how the cassava tuber forms in the ground, and why we are plowing a land, why you need to plow the land and make ridges or heaps for your cassava. When you put your cassava stem in the ground, when it starts growing, it has roots. The root travels. Let me let you know that it's the root that travels. That's the cassava you're expecting. So when the ground is well broken down, when the clog in the ground is well broken down, it gives the roots to travel very far and spread very well, because it's how far your root travels that determines the length of your crops, determines the length or the size of the tuber you're going to have at the end of the day. If your roots cannot travel very far, the tubers are going to have at the end of the day will be short and it will be small. And that is why, find out, you go to the market or you harvest a cassava, you find out some tiny tubers. You might see some, they're just long, not big, they're just kind of long and tiny. The ground is hard. By the time the root penetrates in the ground, when it starts giving up for the tuber, it doesn't have room to expand. I know some places like, cassava is very rugged. You can plant it anywhere it will grow. You don't need to till the land, you don't need to plow the land, whatever. Fine, we know. But if you do not till the ground, when you plant your cassava on just a bare land, it will grow, sure, but the tubers will not be big because the ground is compacted. By the time the tubers start forming, it doesn't have room to expand. And that's why you just see the tuber, it becomes long, but it will not be big. But for grounds that are plowed and ridges are made, when the tuber roots travels in the ground, number one, it has a very free passage to travel. Then the tuber will travel very far. Now, by the time the tuber start forming, the grounds are well broken down, the clogs are not too compacted, then the tuber can easily expand. Then that's how you see some farms will harvest their cassava, some farms will be very big. We have harvested cassava that at least one of the tubers weighs 16 kg. We've harvested cassava that the whole bunch on that cassava stem, on that particular root that were uprooted, was weighing about 40 kg. But whereas in some farms, they harvest cassava, everything may not be more than 5 kg. Are we seeing the difference now? So there's much difference. Some cases maybe 2 kg, some 1 kg safe, because they were so tiny, small tubers. These are some of the things that brings about the difference. So why will you settle for just 2 kg when you can have 40 kg per tuber, per stand? The difference is just you tilling the ground. Most persons will say, the money to plow the land is very expensive. The money to make ridges is expensive. But the result will pay back. Look at the difference from you having 2 kg per stand and about 40 kg per stand. You've gotten about times 20 of what you should have, what you have initially. You got it per stand now. Look at over the number of stands you're going to have on your field. At the long run, it pays over times 10 of whatever you think you've spent on that thing. But if you do not do it well, you will not get the same results. This is some of the challenges that farmers are facing. We also want you to understand the fact that there are certain things that you need to do on your farm. First of all, weed control. By the time you successfully gotten a very good stem, you've plowed your land, that's land preparation, you make good ridges, you started planting your stem. Most of the time, when you're doing your stem cutting, your stem cutting is always between the space of within the length of maybe 5 to 8 cm. Maybe maximum having maybe 5, 6, 7, or 8 nodes from a stem. But 5 nodes, fine, you're good. There are some stem cuttings we do that you just have 3 nodes. The stem is just between maybe 3 or 4 cm, there about like that. But if you are not versatile in stuff, in things like that, just do your normal 5 nodes, 6 nodes, or 7 nodes, the case may be. Now, by the time you finish planting, you need to be able to control the weed, because most of the time people just plant cassava and walk away. Now, once weed take over your cassava farm, you cannot get that same result, because the weed will be competing with the cassava stem when it's growing. Then it will not make the plant itself to have good vegetative growth. Then to affect the fruit, that is the tuber on the ground. Please take note. And that's why it's advisable when you finish planting your cassava, it is good you do a very good pre-emergence weed control. Very important. That will sustain your plant, that will sustain your farm for the next minimum of 5 weeks. If you do a very good pre-emergence application, 5 weeks, and within that 5 weeks, it is assumed that the cassava will have shoot out, also have at least 10 leaves on it. With that, it's going to above ground level. If you have actually did very well, your cassava will have almost gone to your new level before you start seeing weed in that farm. And by the time your cassava grows to that new level, it will shield the ground, thereby preventing more weeds. Though you still have weeds in between, that time you can just do your normal weed clearing within your farm. Is either you do chemical weeding or you do manual weeding, as the case may be, depending on which one you are good at. But we have different ways of controlling the weed on the farm. So by the time this is done, you know you've passed through the first order. The second order is maintain the farm. If you can maintain the farm adequately, then you will know that your expected yield is just close to you. Do not allow it to overtake your cassava farm. By so doing, it will minimize or reduce or drastically diminish the actual result you are expecting. So please take note of these things. They are not difficult. They are not magic. They are not something new that we are introducing. This is something that we all know. But if we don't know how to put the sequence together, we might be having those challenges. Cassava cultivation is quite simple and easy, but if not well done, it is devastating because you'll be frustrated at the end of the day. By the time you finish harvesting the old tuber, you know it's so funny that you can't even know what's on the ground until you're harvesting. You might think you have big tubers there, by the time you harvest, you see small tubers there, then you'll be frustrated. But if you do all you need to do, number one, get a very good stem. Number two, do your land preparation very well. When you plant it, do the weed control. When you do your weed control properly, there will not be attack on your cassava farm. I laugh sometimes when I hear some people say my farm is having some fungal effect or whatever like that. If you could control the weed in your farm, you can never have any bacterial effect on your farm. Though cassava farms used to have attacks, bacteria can affect cassava. Even at the moment now, the attack on cassava farms are the grasshoppers that are all over the town now. We have so many grasshoppers all over the town that are eating up cassava leaves. I'm sure if you go to your own cassava farm now, all the leaves in your farm will have been eaten up by grasshoppers. These are also some of the challenges that farmers will face. And you know, when the leaf of your cassava is being damaged, it affects the tuber as well too, because these things work hand in hand. Because your leaf takes the sunlight, it transfers to the stem down to the tuber, which helps the tuber's formation as well too. So when the leaves are eaten up, there is no way to transfer the sunlight down to the system, even to enhance the stem to grow effectively. So these are some of the things farmers will face. But if not for periods like this, when you have grasshopper effect on your farm, you can just use chemical to control them. Like in our last episode, we talked about the challenges farmers could face when rain starts. One of them is the grasshoppers. The grasshoppers are all over the town, all over farms now. Perhaps they might not be in your own farm, but I'm sure if I'm talking to 200 persons, 199 persons have grasshoppers on their farm at the moment I speak. For cassava farmers, use any cephalometrin active ingredient or cephalometrin with lambda cyhalothrin active ingredient to spray the cassava farm. When you spray them, all the grasshoppers will go off. But it will be better you use the one that has lambda cyhalothrin, and the reason is this, I will tell you for free. When you use lambda cyhalothrin with cephalometrin, the reaction remains on the leaf for a while, even when you finish spraying and the existing one dies off. Whichever grasshopper comes afterwards and perches on the leaf or stays on the stem, they will always inhale the lambda cyhalothrin there and they will die off. So even when you finish spraying today, a week after, you still see grasshoppers dying on your farm. That's more effective, and that will pay you more to get good results. So, fellow farmers, at Solocard Multiventures Limited, we are after you succeeding in every kind of venture you are venturing to as far as agriculture is concerned. And any kind of crop you are prioritizing, there is great potential in that crop if you understand how to do it well. You imagine this. On 1 hectare of cassava farm, you should have nothing less than 12,500 stands. But if you can do it very well, you should have 15,000 stands. On 15,000 stands, if you are having 20 kg per stand, divided by 1,000, 1,000 kg, that's a ton. You can imagine how many tons you should be having on that farm. Now let's say you now do it very well, you go 35 kg per stand times 15,000. Do the mathematics. You know how many tons you are having. This is how great you can have good results in your farm. But if you don't know about how to go about it, you might not get even 10% of what we are mentioning. These things are realistic. They are doable. We have done them before. We got those results. We are not just telling you that you can do it. We have done it before, and we got those results. And that's what we are trying to share across to you. Whatever we are sharing to you across on Solar Multifinance Limited on our TV show, we are letting you know that we have done them before. We are not telling you what is written in a book somewhere, or what we browse somewhere, or what was done in California, or what was done in Kenya. We are telling you to do it in Nigeria. We are telling you what we have done in Nigeria and the result we have gotten in this same Nigeria we are. And that's why we are telling you, based on what we have done, that you can actually do better and even do more than we have done. If you are always on the field, you are monitoring your farm very well. How much more we are also selling inputs. We are always paying attention to people that buy input. And we also pay attention to the farm. Then you should get even much more than what we are getting. And that's what we are urging you today. Farm smart, not just farming the conventional way. There is more to agriculture now than you can ever think of. There is money in whatever venture you are venturing in agriculture. Every aspect of agriculture, across the value chain of agriculture, there is money in it. Like I will always say, and I will say it again, if 1 million person around you eats every day, and each of them gives you 10 naira per day, do you know how much you've earned? You've earned 10 million naira every day. How much will you have earned in a week, in a month, in a year? And that's why you should be the next billionaire that Nigeria should talk of, being a farmer. You can actually achieve this thing. You can actually make it work. But pay attention to details. Once again, my name remains Mark Oluwafemi for Solocard TV. I want to urge you, try and do it right. Ask questions, and you always get the results. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Till next week, when we come your way again. Bye for now.
Bàbá Sídí, ọ̀rẹ́ mi, níbi táyé lajú dé yìí ló tún roko àrògbá kìnkìn.
Wọ́n rò wọ́n ti sú mi, mo ti fi kó tó ẹ̀mẹ́ta lọ́dún
yìí. Níbo ló ti wá ra kẹ́míkà tiẹ̀?
A ní lọ́dọ̀ àwọn tí wọ́n máa ń to kẹ́míkà sí ẹ̀gbẹ́ títì ibẹ̀ mo rà.
Ọmọ ṣe o, àgbárí bíjá tòtò kí o tò.
Kàṣà.
Sórí, ó ti gbọ́n pa Solocard ń tiẹ̀. Solocard nìkan ní ta ojúlówó kẹ́míkà. Tó o bá dọ́dọ̀ rẹ̀ kò sírú kẹ́míkà tó wá tó rí. Kí ni jẹ́ èpò níwájú kẹ́míkà Solocard?
Ṣé lóòótọ́? Ṣé lóòótọ́?
Òótọ́ ni mo sọ fún ọ. Wo, má yá lọ.
Mo rí gbogbo rẹ̀.
Kẹ́míkà Solocard.
Solocard.
Kẹ́míkà Solocard, kẹ́míkà tó dáa ni.
Solocard.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Kẹ́míkà Solocard.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Dákun ọ̀rẹ́ mi. Níbo ni iléeṣẹ́ wọn wà bí ṣọ́ọ̀bù wọn níbi tí wọ́n ti ń ta tèmi náà ti lè ra?
Amúnigun Ògùnpa náà ni.
Ògùnpa ń bẹ̀rù.
Nọ́mbà 57.
Nọ́mbà 57.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Amúnigun Ògùnpa.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Tọ́ ọ bá ti débẹ̀ ó ti rí ilé wọn báyìí. Wọ́n kàn wọ ọbẹ̀ lọ mú yìí tó wù ọ́.
Ọ̀rẹ́ mi.
Àgbẹ̀ ti di rọrùn.
Tèmi ti dá a lọ́dún yìí. Ṣé ọ lọ ọ̀rẹ́?